Welcome to the second last Inktober video in my repertoire. This video starts off with day 24, Fairy. Now here's some scary facts about about a particular fairy called the Utbird, also called the Myling. Now apparently there is such a fairy that is believed to be a spirit or harbour the spirit of a baby or child that has died during a harsh winter. This Scandinavian folklore says that these souls are forced to hang around on Earth until they have their wishes granted. They haunt the location where they died and torment anyone who visits that location. They tend to go after their abusers, which usually their abusers are their mothers, who are the ones that usually abandon them to die and are enraged and seeking revenge. So apparently these particular fairies, they end up coming back, seek revenge on the parents, and it's usually, like I said, it's usually the mother that actually doesn't want them, and they leave them out to freeze to death in the harsh winters. If that folklore is true, that is seriously messed up. The illustration that I decided to do for this one was, the first thing that came to mind was a baby, obviously, and I was sort of thinking, how the hell am I going to sort of turn this into something that's not going to get me into trouble? So I ended up going with this baby that is sort of it's a half baby, half fairy, and it's got this it's just a demon. It's a demon basically looking thing, and it's got these long fingers, and it's got this baby body and baby head, but the jaw is obviously of a demon type thing, and it's got these sort of fairy type wings, and the legs on it is kind of like morphing into some sort of octopus looking thing. I don't know, I just went with it. It felt right. That's what came out of my head. And yeah, it's like creepily crawling along the ground after it's just mutilated its mother for abandoning it in the cold winters. So once again, I'll leave you to watch that, and I'll be back in a couple of minutes for the next prompt. Day 25 is tempting, and with this one, the first thing that sprung to my mind was the fact that the media is a tool that is used by the elite and the government, well, the elite runs the government, to try and make society think a certain way, to make a distraction about what's really going on in the world. They want us to think the same way as them, but I don't even think they believe in what they're pushing. It's just virtue signaling and trying to turn everyone against everyone else, making a divide and making us not trust each other for their own agenda. But it's them we shouldn't trust. And that's, they sort of put all this stuff on TV to try and tempt us with stuff, to brainwash us, and basically, yeah, that's where I'm going with that. They tempt us with fake news, yes, I said it, and try and dumb us down with celebrity news, like think of the whole Amber Heard and Johnny Depp trial. We got smashed with that on the news, but when it comes to other topics and other cases we would have liked to have seen, like the Jeffrey Epstein one, personally, we should have been able to see that instead of the complete theatrical bullshit that we were, presented with. So basically, as far as I'm concerned, those cases, like the Johnny Depp and Amber Heard one, are pushed to the foreground to distract us from what's actually really happening in the background. They spread fear-mongering and keep us in a state of fear, so we are tempted by the so-called caring information and advice of the powers that be. So we follow said tempting and caring info. But the problem is, as far as I'm concerned, the people who create the scenario are the ones that then create the solution. So that's how they work, and it's if you really delve into it, it's quite frightening. So I won't watch the news. I refuse to watch any mainstream media news because it is a complete theatre. It is if you reverse look up some of the footage that you see on the news, you'll find that it's not from what they are talking about. So it is quite terrifying what they are pushing in front of us, and what people are actually believing. It's beyond words, the ridiculousness that is happening at the moment. And that's what I portrayed in the illustration that I did, like someone who is being brainwashed by something that they're watching on the TV, and the TV is connected to them. And I come up with this idea to put a mixer on top of this person, cut their head open, and have the mixer blades going into their brain, because it's all connected to the TV. So basically they're starting, like as you see, I've got the mixer on minimum, and there's a maximum setting. So they're starting, they're starting at the minimum one, and then they'll ramp it up to maximum to really try and mush people's brains into what they want them to believe. And if they're not awakened to the bullshit, they will follow and they will believe what they are seeing. That's what I've done there. I won't talk any more about this because I would be surprised if I get demonetized, or this video probably even gets taken down for talking about this. But yeah, I'll let you watch this rest of this illustration, and then I'll return for the next one in a couple of minutes. Day 26 is ego, and after looking into some facts about the ego, I found that there's actually a thing called ego death, and it's quite interesting. Ego death is said to be an enlightening and a frightening thing at the same time that you experience. We all know that the ego is a sense of self and your own feelings about your own importance and ability. So ego death is when you realize you are not what you once thought you were in your own mind. Once you realize this, you start to remove expectations and start to feel freer and connected to reality. When some people experience ego death, they can develop a sense of detachment, complete loss of oneself, resulting in depression and anxiety. It can change a person's life completely and turn it upside down. Ego death can happen at any time in any way, depending on what has happened in your life that triggers you. But once you wake up and realize, you can rebuild yourself in a more aware way. So that's quite interesting. Like people who have massive egos, they have the potential to fall and crash pretty damn hard to realize that they're being a complete dickhead. So that was quite interesting to learn about this whole thing about ego death. So if you want to have a look at it, I recommend Googling it. But yeah, it's a thing, and I sort of really never thought about it. So the illustration that I did for this one, I went with a chick, and she is basically shedding her horrible ego. And that's the ego is portrayed by these tentacles breaking out of her skull and her body, and she's looking off into the distance to sort of portray that her awareness of realizing that this ego that she's been carrying around, thinking that she's so important and so like just God's gift to everything. She is shedding that and just realizing that she's got to come down, she's got to be taken down a few pegs and getting rid of the bullshit that is propping up her ego and making everything unrealistic in her life. So yeah, that's what I decided to do with this one. This is probably one of my favorite drawings in this whole Inktober series. I really enjoyed doing this. Like, there's been quite a few of them that I didn't mind. This one really stands out for me, just the simplicity of it, and yeah, just showing like the rib cage, and she's nude too. But yes, like I've said a million times in this series, I'll let you watch the rest of this, and I'll be back for the final illustration in this video. Day 27 is snack, and I've got some scary facts about snacks. I think most of us know this, but I just thought I'd bring it up again. So snacks are designed to be addictive, if you didn't already know. Before we even put the product in our mouths, the packaging itself is enough to lure us in. Food companies know how our brains work, so they will pay big money for product placement. Example, if you go to a checkout at a supermarket and you see all the lollies lined up at the register, while you're waiting, you have a bit of a browse, you look and you go, shit, I might grab some of those Kit Kats or whatever, or whatever. That's what they do. That's product placement. That is a sort of like a marketing tool that they use to make people buy more of their product. And obviously it's in packaging that is luring to the eye, and you just go, yep, that's going in my belly. And they always make all that sort of stuff at eye level, so you see it. Once they have snagged us to buy their snacks, they want us to come back, and they make sure that the snack is loaded with ingredients that will make you crave this product again, such as salt and sugar. Salt is just as addictive as cigarettes, believe it or not, and some other hard drugs as well. And sugar, well, sugar has a reaction in the body just like cocaine does. Think twice about what you put into your body, because the snack foods and other foods are not healthy and are there to make big food companies money and also keep us sick, so they can then hand us over to Big Pharma. But hey, I won't get started on that right now. So the illustration that I did for this one was one of my favorite chocolate bars. I decided to go with a Kit Kat. I love Kit Kats. They are just, they're just the best. And in Australia, we have so many flavors of Kit Kats. It is insane. And I decided to go with a like a monster type Kit Kat, and he is, instead of us consuming the food, the snack is consuming the person. And this is how I feel that the food these days work. They basically consume us, and it is so true what they say when they say we are what we eat. And because like that whole scenario there makes you feel a certain way. And like, as much as like I am a chocolate and lolly monster, I really like to cut all that stuff out of my diet as much as I can. I always make sure that I have, at night, I'll sit down after I have dinner, because I don't eat much during the day. I might have I might graze on a bit of fruit, but at night I will have a nice healthy dinner. And then I might have one row of Kit Kat or whatever I've bought, but I'll make sure I always check the portion on the back to make sure I'm only having that. And Saturdays are usually my cheat days. Like Saturday is just like, you know, whatever goes, like anything goes when it comes to portion sizes and that. But during the week, I tend to try and keep it as whole food and as natural as possible. I even buy natural lollies. Here in Australia, we've got something called the Natural Confectionery, and it's made with everything that's natural. Still no good for you because it's still got sugar in it, but it's all like sugar cane and all the sugars that is not refined in that. But yeah, I am very aware of what the food companies are doing, and I tend to steer clear of a lot of the rubbish and only have some of that on a cheat day, because it really is no good for you, and it really is you know, I think it's probably one of the biggest problems in the world of why a lot of people are getting cancer more and more, is because of the shit they put into the food. And on just one last thing before I end this, Skittles. Did you hear about Skittles having titanium dioxide in them? Why the fuck are they putting titanium dioxide in lollies? Why do we need that shit in food? Like, it blows me away, but once again, I won't get into that right now. But yeah, I'll wrap this video up. I've waffled on enough. I will see you guys in the next video, which is going to be the last Inktober video of this year. So yeah, crazy. Anyway, I'm out of here, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.